Have you ever noticed how some of us only feel alive when everything around us is completely falling apart? Why do we always wait for the absolute worst scenario to finally pay attention to our own lives, treating our peace like a luxury we can only afford after the fire is put out? Please like, follow and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Let me tell you a story about a person who became an expert at surviving everyone else's chaos while silently drowning on their own. Let's call him Alex. Alex was the person you called when the world was ending. If a friend had a late night crisis, Alex was awake. If a project at work was completely collapsing, Alex would stay up until dawn fixing it. People called Alex a rock, a lifesaver, a superhero. Alex would just laugh it off, make a quick joke, and keep moving. It was a great coping mechanism. If you're always running towards someone else's fire, you never have to look at the smoke rising from your own backyard. On the outside, everything looked perfectly handled. Alex's desk was neat, the calendar was packed, and the text replies were instant. But if you looked closely, the signs were there. It was in the way Alex's hand slightly trembled while holding a pen, masked immediately by a quick adjustment of the sleeves. It was the way Alex always kept the TV or podcast running in the background at home. Because absolute silence meant having to sit alone with the thoughts that were desperately being avoided. Alex was always carrying a very specific kind of weight. Years ago, there was a dream of becoming an artist, a creator, someone who built beautiful things from scratch. But when a sudden family crisis hit, that dream had to be packed away into a box in the closet. There was no time for art when bills needed to be paid and people needed to be saved. Alex chose survival over passion, not that he had a choice. Over time, the dream was completely abandoned. The guilt of even wanting something for oneself felt selfish, so Alex compensated by becoming indispensable to everyone else. If Alex was always needed, then abandoning that dream was justified. One random Tuesday, the universe decided to play a trick. For the first time in 3 years, there were no emergencies, no frantic phone calls, no looming deadlines. The silence in the apartment was deafening. Alex sat at the kitchen table, staring at a blank piece of paper and a fountain pen that hadn't been inked in years. The plan was simple. Just write something, anything for fun. But as the nib touched the paper, nothing happened. Alex's mind went completely blank. Suddenly, a wave of intense anxiety rushed in and out of nowhere. The chest tightened, the breath became short. There was no external crisis to fix, so the internal alarm system didn't know what to do with the energy. Alex immediately stood up, grabbed a rag, and started scrubbing the kitchen counters that were already clean. Anything to avoid the terrifying emptiness of that blank page. That's the secret about people who live like firefighters. When there is nothing left to rescue, they don't know how to exist. They pretend they love peace, but they're secretly terrified of it because peace forces them to face the emotional exhaustion they have been running from. Alex kept scrubbing until the counters gleamed, but the tightness in the chest wouldn't leave. Standing there in the middle of a perfectly clean, perfectly quiet kitchen, Alex realized the painful truth. The emergencies weren't just happening to Alex. Alex was actively looking for them. Becoming a firefighter was a way to hide from the grief of lost dream and the fear of failure. It was easier to be a tired hero than a person failing at their own life. Healing doesn't happen when you finally fix everything around you. It begins when you finally stop running and let the fire inside you burn out naturally. Alex walked back to the table, sat down, and looked at the pen. The hands were still shaking, but this time, Alex didn't hide them. A single tear fell into the paper, smudging the clean white surface. It wasn't a crisis, it was just a release. We cannot spend our entire lives reacting to the chaos, waiting for the next test to prove we are strong enough to survive. Prepare your hearts before life tests it. When you look at your own life right now, are you actually living? Or are you just constantly putting out fires? Let me know in the comments. Take a deep breath. You do not have to save the world today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.